The twin suns rose slowly over the valley, casting long shadows across the human settlement. Commander Rion stood at the edge of the river, watching the water flow and listening to the soft hum of the forest. The humans had survived battles, healed themselves and even their enemies, and gained a foothold on this wild planet. Yet, a new challenge was approaching, one that would test everything they had learned. It began with tremors. At first, small shakes ran through the ground, shaking tents and equipment. Humans and Valari alike paused, sensing something greater was at work. Then came the roaring winds, followed by flashes of lightning that lit the sky with unnatural colors. The planet itself seemed angry, shifting, and unstable. Streams began to overflow, trees toppled, and creatures fled in panic. This was no ordinary storm, it was a planetary-scale catastrophe that threatened to destroy everything in the valley. Rion called an immediate meeting with his team. "This is unlike anything we've faced," he said, his voice calm but urgent. "We can fight the Valari, the predators, and the terrain, but this is the planet itself. If we survive, it will be because of our unity, our intelligence, and our courage. We must work together and quickly." The humans split into teams. Engineers reinforced shelters, built barriers to redirect rivers, and secured supplies. Medics prepared for injuries, while scouts mapped the safest routes across unstable terrain. Humans worked tirelessly, often in dangerous areas, but they were undeterred. Every injury was treated immediately. Every obstacle became an opportunity to adapt. Meanwhile, the Valari observed the humans' actions. Some remained cautious, hiding behind trees and ridges, while others slowly approached. They had never seen a species respond to a planetary threat with such efficiency and calm. While many Valari relied on brute strength to solve problems, humans relied on observation, strategy, and teamwork. Even injuries and exhaustion could not stop them. Rion approached the Valari cautiously, raising his hands to show he meant no harm. "We can help," he called. "This planet is dangerous to all of us. We must work together if we want to survive." At first, the Valari were suspicious. Trust did not come easily to a species that had survived wars for generations. But the humans' actions spoke louder than words. Teams of humans guided injured Valari to safe zones, reinforced their shelters, and shared tools and techniques for survival. Slowly, the Valari joined in, realizing that resistance was useless against the power of the planet's fury. The storms grew worse. Trees fell across paths, rivers swelled, and landslides blocked key routes. Humans adapted with speed and precision. They created temporary bridges, dug channels to redirect water, and cleared debris using both intelligence and teamwork. Injuries occurred, but every time a human or Valari was hurt, they were treated and returned to the effort quickly. No one was left behind. In one particularly dangerous section of the forest, a group of humans found a Valari warrior pinned under a massive fallen tree. The warrior struggled, panicked, and began to lose hope. Commander Rion arrived with ropes and levers. Working with engineers and medics, humans lifted the tree, stabilized the injured warrior, and treated wounds immediately. Within hours, the warrior was back on his feet, astonished by the humans' efficiency and care. General Kale, observing from a ridge, felt a mix of awe and humility. "They heal faster than we do. They endure longer. They work together like no species I have ever known. Perhaps we have underestimated them," he murmured. His pride would not allow him to speak openly to his warriors yet, but the truth was undeniable. As the humans and Valari worked together, they began to notice patterns in the planet's behavior. The tremors were strongest near unstable ridges, and water levels rose predictably after heavy rains. Using this knowledge, humans coordinated evacuation routes and stabilized critical areas. They had learned to read the planet, to adapt quickly, and to apply both intelligence and courage to survive. During the height of the storm, a massive landslide threatened to bury the lower valley where the human settlement was located. Scouts warned Rion just in time. "If we do nothing, the entire camp will be destroyed," said one young explorer. Rion's mind worked quickly. "We divide into teams. Some will reinforce the lower ridge to hold the debris. Others will evacuate the wounded and supplies. Everyone else will guide the Valari to safe zones. The humans move like a single organism. Some lifted heavy debris with levers. Others dug channels to redirect mud and rocks. Lyra and her medical team ran tirelessly, treating injuries as they happened. Scouts signaled safe paths, while engineers reinforced vulnerable points. Even the Valari, inspired by the humans' determination, joined the effort. Together, they held back the landslide, saving the settlement and countless lives after the storm. The valley was scarred but not broken. Humans had proven their resilience, their intelligence, and their ability to survive against impossible odds. Injuries had healed, shelters were rebuilt, and the survivors worked side by side. Even the skeptical Valari had to admit that humans possessed a rare strength, a combination of endurance, teamwork, and moral courage that could not be defeated by force alone. General Kale approached Rian cautiously. "You are remarkable," he said. "We judged you too quickly. Your strength is not in your muscles, but in your will, your ability to endure, and your care for others. You have earned our respect." Rian nodded, accepting the praise quietly. "We did what we had to do," he said. "Not for respect, but for survival. And for life. That is the strength of humanity." In the weeks that followed, humans continued to settle the valley, repairing damage and establishing stronger structures. They shared knowledge with the Valari, teaching methods to recover faster from injuries, to work together more effectively, and to adapt to the planet's challenges. Slowly, what began as mistrust turned into cooperation. Humans and Valari began to understand each other. The aliens learned that strength was not only physical. Healing, endurance, and the courage to continue even when hope seemed lost were equally powerful. Humans learned that even the fiercest warriors could change when shown respect and compassion. Together, they forged a new path of shared effort to survive and thrive. Rian walked through the settlement one evening, observing humans and Valari working together. Children played safely near repaired shelters, engineers discussed improvements, and medics moved quietly among the groups, tending to minor injuries. The valley, once a place of uncertainty and danger, was now a symbol of unity, resilience, and hope. He paused near the river and looked at the twin moons rising over the horizon. "They said we would die first," he said softly, "but we survived. We healed, we endured, and we showed that humanity's strength is not in dominance, but in persistence, intelligence, and unity." Lyra joined him, smiling. "And we helped others see it too," she said. "Even the Valari have learned from us," Rian nodded. "Yes, they have learned that true strength is not measured by power alone. It is measured by how you respond to challenges, how you care for others, and how you endure when everything seems against you." The night was calm, a stark contrast to the chaos of the storm. Humans and Valari alike rested, their bonds strengthened by shared struggle. The valley had become more than just a home. It was a testament to what could be achieved through resilience, teamwork, and moral courage. In the following months, humans expanded their settlements, exploring further while continuing to heal and adapt. They faced challenges, of course, wildlife, storms, and occasional skirmishes, but nothing could break their unity. Their reputation grew among the Valari, shifting from fear and dismissal to respect and admiration. Commander Rian knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had survived where others would have failed, not by sheer strength, but by resilience, intelligence, and compassion. They had changed the way the Valari saw them and had proven that survival was not just about fighting, it was about enduring, adapting, and inspiring others. The humans had come to a wild, dangerous world expecting to struggle, and yet they had thrived. They healed when others bled. They endured when others fell, and through every challenge, they had shown a truth that would echo through generations. Humanity's strength lay not in domination, but in persistence, unity, and the courage to face the impossible. And as the first stars appeared in the night sky, Rian knew the humans' legacy had begun not just as survivors of a distant world, but as a force that could endure, adapt, and inspire all who encountered them. Humanity had arrived. Humanity had survived. Humanity had proven its strength. The valley, scarred but alive, stood as a monument to endurance, and humans, united with their new allies, looked toward the horizon, ready to face whatever came next with courage, intelligence, and the unyielding will to thrive. The morning mist hung low over the valley, and the humans moved quietly through their settlement, preparing for the day. Commander Rion stood near the river, watching his team. Injuries from the previous battles had healed remarkably fast, and morale was high. Humans were no longer just surviving, they were learning, adapting, and improving with every encounter. Lyra, the medic, approached him with a thoughtful expression. "They are still watching," she said. "The Valari are curious now. I've seen scouts observing us, but not attacking." "Something has changed," Rian nodded. "They are learning, just as we are. Every encounter teaches us something new, and soon they will see that our strength is not just in our bodies, it is in our minds, in our unity, and in our will to survive." The humans' daily routine had grown more complex. Teams went out to gather resources, mapping the forests, rivers, and mountains. Engineers worked on improved shelters, creating designs that could withstand storms and predators. Medics like Lyra studied not just human injuries, but also the signs of fatigue and strain in the Valari, learning patterns that might help them predict enemy movements. Then, a surprising event occurred. A small group of Valari warriors appeared near the edge of the human camp, but instead of attacking, they were injured, limping, and clearly in need of help. The humans paused, unsure how to respond. It was a moment of decision, to act with caution or to show compassion. Rion stepped forward. "We help them," he said firmly, "not because they are our friends, but because it is the right thing to do. We will show that humanity's strength is not only in fighting, it is in caring, even for those who see us as enemies." Lyra and her medical team approached the injured Valari. At first, the warriors were tense, their eyes sharp and untrusting. But the humans worked calmly, applying healing salves, stabilizing wounds, and offering water and food. Slowly, the Valari realized the humans were not harming them. Some warriors relaxed slightly, allowing the medics to treat their injuries. The camp watched in quiet amazement. Humans moved with efficiency and care, their teamwork seamless. They healed injuries that would have taken days to recover, and they did it without complaint or hesitation. The Valari could not understand it. How could a species so small, so seemingly fragile, possess such resilience? As the humans treated the Valari, Commander Rion spoke softly. "You may see us as weak. You may think we are easy to defeat, but we endure. We adapt, we heal, and we do not stop fighting for life, for survival, and for what is right." The Valari warriors exchanged glances. Some were still cautious, but others seemed to recognize something new in these humans. Strength was not always measured in muscle or weapons. There was a power here, subtle but undeniable, a power of endurance, unity, and moral courage. In the following days, the humans continued to improve their defenses while also observing the Valari. They noticed patterns in the warriors' patrols, weaknesses in their strategies, and signs of fatigue. Humans were not faster or stronger individually, but they worked together like a single organism. Every injury healed quickly, every skill learned became a tool for survival, and every decision was made with precision. One day, a massive predator from the forest attacked the settlement. Humans had seen smaller creatures before, but this one was enormous, with claws capable of tearing through metal and a roar that shook the trees. Panic rippled through the camp, but Rion's calm voice brought focus. "Remember what we've learned. Teamwork, strategy, and adaptability. We can handle this. Humans move as one." Some distracted the creature with noise and movement, while others used tools to create barriers and traps. Lyra and the medics stayed ready to treat injuries immediately. Several humans were scratched and bruised, but they healed quickly and returned to the fight. After a tense and exhausting struggle, the creature was neutralized, and no human had suffered permanent harm. The Valari watched from a distance, astonished. Even in the face of a deadly predator, humans worked together, adapted quickly, and recovered from injuries that would have disabled any other species. General Kell felt a pang of respect he could not deny. "They endure, they heal, and they adapt," he muttered. "Perhaps we misjudged them. The next encounter with the Valari tested the humans' strategy and compassion together. A group of warriors approached the settlement again, but this time, some were visibly injured from skirmishes among themselves. Humans responded not with attack, but with assistance. They treated the wounded, offered guidance, and even helped move supplies to safer locations. This act of compassion created tension among the Valari. Some of their warriors still saw humans as weak enemies, but others began to recognize the value in their actions. Humans were not only surviving, they were influencing the Valari, teaching lessons about endurance, teamwork, and moral strength without ever saying a word. Rion observed the situation carefully. "They are learning from us," he said to his team. "Not just how we fight, but how we live. Strength is more than weapons. Healing, helping, and enduring, that is true power." As days turned into weeks, humans began gaining small advantages. They could anticipate Valari movements, set effective defenses, and recover faster than the aliens expected. Their ability to heal became a symbol of resilience. Injured humans returned to patrols, and even those with serious wounds recovered remarkably quickly. Every victory, no matter how small, reinforced the humans' confidence. The Valari elders began to discuss the humans in ways they had never considered. "They are not weak," one said. "They recover from wounds that would destroy our warriors. They are clever, adaptive, and persistent. Perhaps they are stronger than we realized." The humans, meanwhile, were not seeking glory or dominance. Their goal was survival and learning. They observed the Valari carefully, studying their culture, tactics, and behavior. They noted weaknesses and patterns, not to exploit them immediately, but to understand the world they had entered. A turning point came during a night patrol. Humans discovered a group of Valari caught in a natural trap following rocks from a small landslide. The humans had a choice: ignore them and avoid risk, or help. They chose the latter. Using ropes, levers, and teamwork, the humans freed the trapped Valari. Some warriors were injured, but humans treated them immediately. This act of bravery and compassion left a deep impression. The Valari had never seen a species risk themselves to help those who might be enemies. Slowly, some warriors began to whisper among themselves, reconsidering the humans' role. They were not weak. They were not simple. They were something different, something worthy of respect. Commander Rion gathered his team around a fire that evening. "We are not just surviving," he said. "We are learning, growing, and showing the world who we are. Every injury we heal, every challenge we overcome, every life we save, it builds our strength. And it changes how the Valari see us. Remember, true strength is not just in fighting, it is in endurance, adaptability, and the courage to do what is right." By the end of Part 3, humans were no longer simply adapting, they were turning the tide. They had survived attacks, healed themselves and others, and gained the respect of even the skeptical Valari. Their strength was no longer a mystery. It was clear, undeniable, and inspiring. The valley, once a place of uncertainty and danger, had become a proving ground. Humans and Valari both learned from each other, though in different ways. The humans' resilience, ingenuity, and compassion were slowly reshaping the Valari's understanding of what strength truly meant. And as the twin moons rose once more over the valley, humans understood that their journey was far from over. The real challenge was still ahead, a challenge that would test not just their bodies, but their minds, their hearts, and their unyielding spirit. But they were ready. For the first time, humans were not just survivors. They were a force to be reckoned with. The morning sun bathed the valley in a warm, golden light, but the humans did not have time to enjoy it. Commander Rion stood on a ridge overlooking their settlement, scanning the surrounding forests. The signs of the Valari presence were clear: footprints in the soil, broken branches, and distant shadows moving among the trees. The humans had hoped the initial encounters were only cautious observation, but now tension was rising. Lyra, the medic, approached him, carrying a scanner that detected movement and life forms. "There's activity near the northern ridge," she said. "They are watching us, or planning something." Rion nodded. "Prepare the team. We need to be ready, but we cannot start a fight. Not yet." He turned to the squad, a mix of explorers engineers, and soldiers. Stay alert. Our strength is in teamwork and strategy, not brute force. Watch each other's backs. We will not fail. Humans move quickly but quietly, setting up temporary defenses using local materials. They built barriers from trees and rocks, creating narrow paths that allowed only a few intruders to pass at a time. While they were not as strong as the Valari, humans were clever. Every obstacle, every narrow passage, was designed to slow down any attackers. By midday, the Valari warriors appeared on the northern ridge. They were larger, stronger, and faster than the humans, moving with precision and discipline. Their spears and shields gleamed in the sunlight. They called out a warning in their deep, commanding voices, but the humans did not retreat. Instead, they stood ready, their eyes calm and focused. The first clash was sudden. A Valari warrior leaped down into the valley, aiming directly for a young human scout. The humans had prepared for this moment. Rion signaled his team, and they worked together to corner the warrior in the narrow path. Using ropes and clever traps, they slowed him down, giving their scout a chance to strike. The warrior fell, wounded but not defeated. The humans felt a surge of confidence. They were injured too, but not seriously. Their bodies healed quickly, and their minds remained sharp. They observed the Valari carefully, learning from every move. Every skirmish became a lesson. Even when a human was knocked down or scratched, they recovered faster than expected, moving again before the Valari could anticipate it from the ridge. General Kale watched with growing concern. "They are clever and persistent," he said. "Our warriors bleed, yet they continue. How can they recover so fast?" His voice carried disbelief. The Valari were used to strength and endurance, but humans seemed to thrive where they would falter. As the battle continued, humans discovered something unexpected. They noticed that the Valari, while physically stronger, relied heavily on direct force. Humans, on the other hand, used their environment to their advantage. They set up barriers, used traps, and worked in teams to outmaneuver the warriors. Every human movement was deliberate, every decision measured. It was not raw power that won the day, it was adaptability. Lyra tended to the wounded during the battle, moving quickly from one person to another. She applied healing salves, wrapped wounds, and used advanced medical knowledge to stabilize injuries. Humans who would have been incapacitated in most other worlds recovered and returned to the fight. Even minor wounds healed overnight. This astonished the Valari, who had never encountered a species with such resilience. One young warrior, named Kellen among the humans, faced a Valari twice his size in the forest. The creature lunged with incredible speed, but Kellen dodged, rolled, and struck at the creature's weak points. Though injured in the process, he did not give up. By the time the creature realized Kellen's pattern, it was too late. The human had outsmarted him, using agility and strategy to survive. The human's ability to heal quickly was becoming a game changer. Where the Valari bled and weakened, humans recovered, sometimes within hours. Every skirmish left the Valari exhausted while humans grew stronger through experience. Even General Kale could not ignore this growing truth. "They are not like any enemy we have faced," he admitted quietly. "Strength alone will not defeat them." After the first day of clashes, the humans gathered in their temporary settlement. Rion spoke to his team. "Today we survived, not because we are stronger, but because we adapt. We learn. We support each other. The Valari expect brute force, but we have strategy, endurance, and teamwork on our side." The humans spent the night repairing defenses, tending to wounds, and analyzing the day's encounters. Every lesson learned was noted, every mistake corrected. They were exhausted, but determination burned in their hearts. The following days were filled with repeated encounters. Small groups of Valari tested the humans' abilities, but each time, humans adapted. They learned to anticipate the Valari's movements, to use the terrain to their advantage, and to recover from injuries faster than anyone could have imagined. Each skirmish became less about survival and more about proving that humans could endure, where others might fail. During one particularly dangerous encounter, a human engineer named Tovin was trapped in a narrow canyon with two Valari warriors. He had little chance to escape, but he used his knowledge of the terrain. He caused a small rockfall that blocked the warrior's path and then slipped through an opening. Though scratched and bruised, he returned safely to the settlement. This small victory inspired others, showing that intelligence and creativity could match brute strength. The Valari began to reconsider their assumptions. Some warriors argued that humans were weak and fragile, but the evidence of their endurance could not be denied. Humans healed, learned, and adapted faster than any species the Valari had faced before. The initial belief that humans would die first was clearly wrong. Amidst the battles, humans also demonstrated compassion. They rescued injured Valari from dangerous areas, applied healing techniques, and even shared knowledge to stabilize injuries. This was unexpected. Most species the Valari had known were selfish, seeking advantage in every encounter. Humans, however, showed that strength was not only about fighting, it was also about caring, helping, and supporting others. General Kell began to doubt his previous certainty. Perhaps we misjudged them, he admitted to his closest advisors. They do not fight as we do, but they endure. They heal, they survive, and they inspire each other in ways our warriors do not. By the end of the week, humans had gained small victories in territory, resources, and morale. They were still outnumbered, still facing a physically superior enemy, but their ability to heal and adapt gave them an edge. Every injury they recovered from became a statement. They would not give up, they would not break, and they would survive. Rian watched his team one evening as the sun set over the valley. The humans sat around fires, sharing food, tending to minor wounds, and discussing strategies. He felt pride and relief. They said we would die first, he murmured. But we are still here. We adapt, we heal. And soon, they will understand that humans are not just survivors, we are persistent, clever, and unyielding. Humans had learned an important lesson from the first clashes. Survival was not about who was strongest or fastest. It was about endurance, teamwork, and intelligence. Even when facing a seemingly invincible enemy, humans had discovered the power of strategy, adaptability, and healing. The Valari, meanwhile, were beginning to respect their new neighbors. Some warriors quietly observed humans as they healed and recovered, noting the unusual resilience. Others continued to view them as fragile, but the repeated failures of direct attacks forced reconsideration. By the time the second week arrived, humans were no longer simply survivors, they were a force to be reckoned with. Their injuries healed quickly, their strategies improved, and their confidence grew. They were learning the Valari's strengths and weaknesses, turning every encounter into an opportunity to improve. Rian knew the real challenge was coming. The Valari were powerful, skilled, and relentless. But the humans had something more: resilience, ingenuity, and the ability to recover where others would fail. They would not merely survive, they would endure, adapt, and prove that humanity's strength was more than physical. That night, as the twin moons rose over the valley, humans and Valari alike understood a quiet truth. The humans had survived their first battles, not by brute force, but by the will to endure, the ability to learn, and the courage to face every challenge together. And this was only the beginning. The stars stretched endlessly above the human fleet as it approached the new planet, a world untouched by human settlement. From orbit, it looked beautiful and wild, with green oceans and forests stretching across the continents. The planet's atmosphere was breathable, and its gravity slightly heavier than Earth's, but manageable. It was perfect for a fresh start, or so humanity hoped. Commander Rian stood on the bridge of the flagship Endurance, watching the planet below. His eyes were tired, but determination shone in them. "This is it," he said softly. "Our new home." Around him, other humans bustled quietly, preparing for descent. They were exhausted after years in space, traveling through the cold, lonely void between star systems, but no one complained. Everyone carried the same hope: survival. Yet, the humans were not alone. The planet was home to an alien species known as the Valari. Towering and muscular, covered in natural armor, the Valari were fierce warriors who had survived countless wars among their own kind. From the moment humanity's ships appeared in the skies, the Valari watched with suspicion. "They are weak," said General Kale, leader of the Valari forces. his voice deep and commanding. "They will die before they even understand our ways." The humans had heard rumors of the planet's dangers from long-range scans. Violent storms, aggressive wildlife, and unpredictable terrain. But the Valari themselves had not been seen before. To the humans, the Valari's strength seemed almost mythical. Even so, the humans were ready. They had trained for years for the impossible, learning survival skills, medicine, and teamwork. The first landing was cautious. Rion and his team descended in armored shuttles to a flat valley near a river. The air smelled fresh, earthy, and alive. Birds with metallic blue feathers flew above the trees, and the water sparkled under the planet's twin suns. Humans set up temporary shelters and began scanning the environment for resources. Then, the first encounter happened. A small patrol of Valari warriors appeared on the valley ridge, their long spears gleaming under the sunlight. They moved with precision, each step deliberate, each gesture controlled. Rion raised a hand in greeting, but the Valari did not respond. Instead, they watched carefully, their eyes sharp and unyielding. One of the Valari, taller than the rest, stepped forward. "You should not be here," he said. His voice carried authority, but also curiosity. "You are fragile. You will not survive our world." Rion smiled faintly. "We may be fragile," he replied, "but we are also persistent. We are here to live, not to fight. We hope you can see that." The Valari studied the humans silently. They noticed the humans' small injuries from landing bruises and scrapes, but also their calm expressions, their readiness to continue work despite pain. The warriors exchanged glances. Something about these humans was unusual. They healed quickly, adapting to the air, food, and gravity faster than the Valari expected. Over the next few days, humans and Valari observed each other cautiously. The humans explored the valley, tested soil and water, and gathered edible plants. They built simple shelters from local materials. Their scientists measured oxygen, gravity, and the strength of the river's current. Meanwhile, the Valari watched from a distance, noting every movement, every mistake, every small success. It was during one exploration that a human named Lyra, a medic, discovered the first signs of the planet's danger. Small, carnivorous creatures with sharp teeth and fast reflexes prowled near the riverbank. She was preparing to warn her team when one of the creatures lunged at a young human scout. Instinctively, the human rolled away, avoiding the bite. Lyra rushed forward and applied a quick healing salve. Within minutes, the scout was back on his feet. The Valari, hidden behind rocks, witnessed the scene. General Kale narrowed his eyes. "They heal too fast," he murmured. "This is not normal. How can they recover so quickly?" The humans did not notice the Valari yet. To them, it was simply another test of survival. They documented everything, learning from every mistake and adapting their methods. When the first storm hit a violent mix of wind and rain, humans worked together to secure their shelters. Some structures collapsed, some were flooded, but humans rebuilt them overnight, learning from their failures. Again, the Valari observed silently, confused and cautious. Then came the first major challenge. While exploring a nearby forest, Rion and his team were attacked by larger predators. Creatures as tall as humans, but with thick hides and long claws. Humans fought back using tools and weapons, but they also relied on speed and coordination. Several were injured, some seriously. Yet, despite the wounds, the humans recovered rapidly. By the next day, they were back on patrol, stronger and more determined than before. The Valari could not understand it. How can they endure so much? One warrior whispered, "Our strongest warriors would be broken by these trials." The humans, meanwhile, began to notice strange signs of the Valari watching them. They found symbols carved into trees and rocks, and traces of footprints that did not match any known creature on the planet. Lyra suggested caution. "They are assessing us," she said. "We must remain careful, but also confident. They underestimate us, and that is our advantage." As days passed, the humans adapted to the planet's environment faster than the Valari anticipated. They learned which plants were safe, how to purify water, and how to track dangerous creatures. Their teamwork became seamless. Even when storms or predators struck, humans supported each other, ensuring no one was left behind. The Valari began to debate among themselves. Some believed the humans were too weak to last, while others noticed their rapid recovery and clever tactics. "Perhaps we judged too quickly," said one elder warrior. "They are not strong in the way we expected, but they endure. They adapt. They persist." Rion called a meeting with his team after one particularly difficult day. "They expect us to fail," he said, his tone calm but firm. "But we will survive. We will show them that humans are more than they think. Our strength is not just in our bodies, it is in our minds, our teamwork, and our will to live." The humans nodded, inspired. They had no illusions that the Valari would welcome them, but they also knew that fear and weakness were useless. Every scar, every bruise, every small success became part of their story, a story of persistence in a world that doubted them. By the end of the first week, humans had made small settlements and established supply lines. They healed quickly, recovered from injuries, and even began helping each other with minor ailments. The Valari watched in silent amazement. What they had expected to be easy prey was proving to be a resilient, clever, and unyielding force. For the first time, General Kale felt a twinge of respect. "Perhaps they are not as weak as we believed," he admitted, but his pride would not allow him to show it openly. Instead, he prepared his warriors for future encounters. Wary of humans who could heal while still standing firm in the face of danger. As night fell, the human camp was quiet. Fires burned softly, casting warm light across tents and shelters. Humans shared stories, repaired equipment, and planned for the next day. Outside the camp, the Valari observed silently, trying to understand a species that refused to break under pressure. Rion looked up at the twin moons rising over the horizon. "They say we would die first," he whispered to himself. "But we are still here, and we will thrive, in that quiet valley on a distant planet." The first chapter of humanity's struggle and eventual triumph had begun. The Valari may have believed humans were weak, but humans had already proven something important. Survival was not only about strength. It was about endurance, intelligence, and the unyielding will to keep moving forward.